Welcome to another episode of Homerik. Today we're going to talk about something very, very cool. I am a huge lover of medieval lore and history, so it's no surprise that one of my biggest inspirations is actually Dante Alighieri. Yes, it's Alighieri. For those who want to be very formal about the last name. An Italian poet, most famous for his Divine Comedy. Let's get into it. Now, Dante was born in modern-day Florence. Of course, it wasn't Florence the way we know it now. And Italy wasn't even called Italy. Italy was known as the Republic of Florence during the medieval ages. And this time was full of great oppression. This is a time of feudalism taking hold. And we are actually towards the cusp of exiting medieval culture into the Renaissance. Dante lived during the high Middle Ages. This was also one of the most treacherous times in human history. The Black Death. The bubonic plague. Coronavirus! Dante's upbringing was tragic. At the age of 10, his mother had passed away, and he was left only with his father, who had gone through his own relational turmoil. And during this time, there was a feud between the Holy Roman Emperor and the papacy. There were lots of uncertainty in politics during this time. Now, at a young age, Dante met a woman by the name of Beatrice Portinari. They were never together as a couple, but he had fascinations about this woman. When he grew older, his marriage was arranged with a woman by the name of Gemma Donati. He may have loved her, but he wasn't definitely fascinated by Gemma. And we can recount this within his Inferno. For Beatrice is the one he always seeks. As a matter of fact, it was inspiring to him to use Beatrice when he had met her once again, when he was already married. Perhaps this recounting of childhood, love, and fascination for this person inspired him to incorporate Beatrice as a character, his fantasy, if you will. Now, Dante was actually a soldier at one point. He fought in the Battle of Campaldino, where he engaged in combat with the Ghibellines, fighting alongside the Guelphs. After the battle, the Guelphs that succeeded began to separate by philosophies. The white Guelphs versus the black Guelphs. And no, this wasn't a racial thing, although I'm not going to say that there wasn't any racism during that time. Of course there was. But they identified themselves as either white Guelphs or black Guelphs. These were the two sides. Dante associated himself with the white Guelphs, which wanted more freedom from Rome. But the black Guelphs, they desired to serve the papacy. At first, the white Guelphs had taken power, and Dante was put into a political position of leadership. Over time, the Pope overturned their rule and granted the black Guelphs power, and in turn exiled the white Guelphs. And to set an example, the Pope wanted Dante Alighieri to stay among the black Guelphs as a prisoner. Dante attempted to reclaim power, but to no avail, and he decided to leave the city with his exiled brothers, growing tired of the politics. This is when he began the journey to write the Inferno. Dante eventually died of disease at age 56 in 1321, shortly after finishing his last poem, Paradiso. He unfortunately never had a chance to redeem himself from his exile, unlike his white Guelph brethren, who were able to redeem themselves under the rule of the Holy Roman Emperor when they defeated the Black Guelphs. Isn't that interesting? To find out so much about a person's life and why they even went about to write a story that had so much political influence is actually mind-boggling and fascinating. Now, one thing that I was always curious about is, well, if Dante wrote a comedy, wouldn't it be funny? Well, great question. Here's the thing. It's not funny at all. A comedy during this time meant a sort of ordered universe to which the person would travel along to find some sense of ultimate good. That is why it is called the divine, because it is through the afterlife. Comedy. In the story, Dante begins as a confused pilgrim who ends up finding his way towards eventually having a visual of God. One of the defining things about the Divine Comedy is this use of allegory. Now, I don't know if the term allegory came from his name Alighieri, but perhaps, because Dante was definitely praised for doing this. He is one of the most revered poets of all Italian literature and even Western civilization. An allegory is an interpretation that reveals hidden meaning. Typically, this is moral or political. In a sense, inside the Inferno, souls suffer from their sins in an allegorical fashion, such as the gluttonous souls who have to feast on their own sludge. Dante wrote 3 poems: Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. These 3 have elements of what we call poetic justice. Inside the Inferno, souls were punished for the sins that they seek to justify. In Purgatory, souls labor for their freedom of sin. And in Paradise, souls bask in the glory of the eternal God. Dante was incredibly influential throughout our history. Just take a look at everything from the Renaissance to the present day. For example, Sandro Botticelli, Michelangelo, Hieronymus Bosch, and even people during the Enlightenment period such as Gustave Doré. These are artists who were inspired by the storytelling of Dante. If you go back to my video on how to write a captivating story, Dante hits all these points. It would be a story that would be told for thousands of years. I hope that this video was informative. Dante Alighieri is someone who greatly inspires my own work. As a matter of fact, The Circle of Dead Children, the upcoming Homerik album, is heavily inspired by Dante's Inferno. As a matter of fact, it's an actual adaptation of the Inferno with a modern twist. If you like this video, give it a like, and please subscribe to see more content like this headed your way. That's all for today. Thanks so much.